Peace. Welcome to the YouTube live book reading of The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh and Diop. And I'm your moderator and narrator, Uriel Riley. This is the 54th edition of reading this book live from the light here in LA. Divine Rising and happy Monday. Welcome to the peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. And now we are in the 12th chapter, Reply to a Critic, page 246, down at the bottom. I wish you had a wonderful rising and divine days and nights. Wow, the 20th. So today that would mean 17,130. What a beautiful number. Down at the bottom of page 246 is where we pick up. This 12th chapter. Returning to the question of whether the Bible designated Ham's descendants and the Egyptians by a term indicating their skin color, we can answer affirmatively. The very name Ham, Sham, is an ethnic term. In Hebrew, Cam, son of Noah. Kum, chestnut. Comb, heat. Kahama, heat, the sun. In ancient Egyptian, Kem, black, burned. Ham, hot, black. In Wolof, Kem, black, burned. Thus, the ethnic designation of Ham and his progeny is implied in the etymology of the word used in Genesis. Mauney's reservation is quite prudent because it concerns Genesis alone. The inattentive reader could believe the no here and the now here in the Bible are Canaanites or Egyptians referred to as blacks, which would obviously be incorrect. Genesis is not the whole Bible. In the Song of Songs, the poem ascribed to Solomon, there is no doubt that the alleged daughter of the Pharaoh is black. The Bible abounds in similar examples. Why should it be important then to observe that in one of its books, the ethnic term for the Canaanites is not explicitly stated? From an examination of the ancient texts cited by the author, not much is left to persuade us that the ancient Egyptians were Negroes. And this, let's lighten it up. There it is. Mm-hmm. Archaeology leads us to believe the contrary, supported precisely by a text from Herodotus. It was only after the Egyptian deserters settled in Ethiopia that the Ethiopians adopting Egyptian manners became more civilized. Now, he's quoting his critic, which sounds nonsense already. Furthermore, hypotheses of on the origin of the Egyptians are not in short supply. C.A.D. did not innovate in this field. Here is the passage in which Gabriel Hanato, Histoire de la Nation Égyptienne, 1931, in the first chapter, page 14, discusses it. What were these early people of the Nile Valley? Celts replied, Poinsinet de Seri equals Negroes, said Volney equals Chinese, thought Winckelmann. Indo-Polynesians, claimed Moreau de Jonge. Africans from Ethiopia and Libya, declared Petrie, supported by the naturalists Hott, Morton, Perrier, Hammy, Asiatics from Babylonia with an advanced civilization, affirm archaeologists and Orientalists, Burgish, Ebers, Hamel, de Rouge, and de Morgan or de Morgan. For this variety of opinions, there is doubtless a cause. It is that in Egypt there was a melange of various races. Egypt, land of the mixture of races and of civilizations at the crossroads of three continents, such is indeed the logical vocation of that country. Any attempt to monopolize the whole for benefit of a single component distorts the truth. It is for us, historians of Black Africa, to detect the part played in the formation of ancient Egypt by the Negro and the brown Africans from Ethiopia and Libya, as Petrie says, a truth widely admitted already, as we have seen. The reader can appreciate how much is left from an examination of the text involved. It is up to him to see whether or not an argument is strengthened by his critique, and whether the criticism has not made him more aware of the soundness of our position. Mauney seems to confuse civilizations and race. That's the key right there. Yeah. Hmm. Not the same. The passage from Herodotus, also cited in Nations Negre et Culture, is absolutely silent on race. At most, it informs us that at a given moment, dissatisfied, Egyptian soldiers defected to the service of the king of Nubia, and that the result produced a civilizing Egyptian influence on Nubia. It is absolutely impossible to extract, despite what Money says, the slightest conclusion about races. Nothing justifies it. On the other hand, it can rightly be noted that these Egyptian soldiers, during that period of disarray and anarchy, turned upward toward Upper Egypt and Nubia. This was a constant of Egyptian pharaonic policy. In troubled periods, princes of the blood and Egyptian tradition always took refuge in Upper Egypt, not the Delta. Ethiopia was the land of the gods, of the ancestors, the land of Punt, of legitimacy, the early habitat of the race, according to the most authentic Egyptian traditions. In the ritual, Upper Egypt always took precedence over Lower Egypt. Egyptian society was legitimist until its decline. We recall that only a Nubian princess could be attached to the sanctuary of the god of Amun at Thebes. The reaction of the Egyptian troops was a legitimist reaction. What it involved was a deliberate choice between Egypto Nubian tradition and adventurous usurpers who had seized the throne of Egypt. There can be no doubt on this score. It suffices to refer to that part of Egyptian history to be convinced. Peace. Awesome. Welcome. Thank you. We're reading The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta. It's a beautiful book, and we're in the 12th chapter. Thank you for being here. You're seeing it live. When it's finished uploading, I will put a brief um, vocabulary in the description so you can look up some of the references made in this book. And we've been doing this for a few years now. So there's loads of books. You can just go on the channel and hit the channel and say view channel. And then after view channel, hit playlist. And those playlists are going to be a bunch of books that we've already read on this channel. So thank you so much. We're pushing towards 700 subs on this peaceful part of YouTube. So grateful and thankful for all of you. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It should be. Happy summer, everyone. All right. Yeah. Spain. Yes. Way to get that win. Semanticus, the first, we're at page 248 down at the bottom. All right. In that last paragraph for those reading along. Semanticus, the first, 26th dynasty, was considered by the people as a usurper who delivered Egypt to the dregs of the nations, to foreigners, by facilitating their installation. In particular, he surrounded himself by Greek mercenaries and conferred upon them the highest civil and military posts in the court. That was when the garrisons of the national Egyptian army, out of frustration and as legitimists, this was part of the army composed of loyal citizens, went to place themselves at the disposal of the king of Nubia in Khartoum, Sudan. They numbered 200,000 and were assigned to the region between Bara el Azriq and Bahar el Abaid. They multiplied and became the automoles mentioned by Herodotus. Mm, 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 mm. Top of page 249. Egypt was no more a melting pot of races than Europe was, and the long quotation from Hanato can be applied word for word to that part of the world as well. There we find Celts, Ligurians, Pelagasians, Italtotes, Etruscans, Germans, Angles, and Saxons, Slavs, Huns, Iberians, Arabs, Lapps, Cro-Magnon men, and Grimaldi Negroids, the Chancellade men, to cite only a few. of all races: white, black, yellow, brownish yellow, brunettes, gradually mixed in that relatively narrow area of Western Europe. Everyone knows this, but it did not prevent the different European nationalities known today, Italian, German, French, etc., from aspiring to certain racial homogeneity. Nevertheless, each of these nations claims and protects what it considers to be its cultural heritage. No school of history has so far attempted seriously to deride those attitudes and to pulverize those crystallizations of historical errors. The permanence of somatic characteristics, despite thousands of years of crossbreeding in a primitive people settled on the terrain, is one of the most extraordinary facts noted by modern anthropology. The three great ethnic sectors of Europe: Nordic, Alpine, Mediterranean, of prehistory, still subsists, notwithstanding the incalculable number of peoples who have come to alter the original substratum. All the anthropologists, Valois, Haddon, Elliott Smith, who have studied Egypt, reach the same conclusions. Similarly, in the passage quoted by Mauney, Kuhn reports that the pigmentation of the Egyptians has probably not changed appreciably during the last 5 millennia. To be sure, Egyptians' crossbreeding spread out like a fan in the course of history, as no one denies, but it has never succeeded in overturning the racial constants of the early population. And we drop a pin right here. Woo! Yeah, people with influx, but it's never been able to remove the population of the early. That is deep. That's real. Let me read that sentence again. It says, crossbreeding spread out like a fan in the course of history, as no one denies, but it has never succeeded in overturning the racial constants of the early population, that of Upper Egypt in particular. The color of the Egyptians has become lighter down through the years, like that of the West Indian Negroes. But the Egyptians have never stopped being Negroes. While all Egyptian civilization is directly linked to the cultural forms of Black Africa, as specialists would have great difficulty in demonstrating any cultural identity of Egypt with Europe or with Semitic or Chinese Asia. For all these reasons, the Black Africans can and must exclusively lay claim to the cultural heritage of the old Egyptian civilization. They are the only ones today whose sensitivity is able to blend easily with the essence and spirit of that civilization, which the Western Egyptologists find so hard to understand. Now, they stay guessing instead of asking the people that have been there for thousands of years, the indigenous people. And so that's why he said, just like West Indians and North America as well. You look at it, like for me, now on both sides of my family, I'm the tallest. But I'm not the tallest ever in my family, right? In my immediate family, I would say I'm probably maybe have the darkest complexion. But that doesn't make me better or um, or worse. It's just genetics is dominant traits that got passed on to me. And so when people start to distinguish colors, it has nothing to do with their cultural identity. Yeah. Um, Growing up where I grew up, there was a lot of Dominicans that looked just like me, right? But they had an entirely different culture. And so, yeah, hmm, that's a big one. All right, it's Heart Love. Thank you so much for being here and reading with us. Divine Days and Nights, live from the light here in LA, reading books and learning from masters. Whew, gotta look at all the angles. All right. The intellectual and affective dispositions of present day Blacks are the same as those of people who edited the hieroglyphic texts of the pyramids and other monuments and sculptured the bas reliefs of the temples, starting from Black Africa, from its conception of the universe, from its cultural forms, its linguistic realities and its types of political social organization. We can gradually bring back to life all those forms of Egyptian civilization that today are dead to European consciousness. We'll pause right here. Oh, wow. Hey, peace, Tinky. Eyes, heart, love. Divine days and nights. Yeah, this is so good, right? Oh, yeah, we're the lineage of peace. In this peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. All right. Wow. We just completed the 54th reading of this book. We're coming along in this 12th chapter, and I'll let you know we don't have that much left. So we almost have completed another book on this peaceful part of YouTube. The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh at the Diop. Edited and translated by Mercer Cook. So thank you so much for being here. Divine days and nights. Right, Pinky? Awesome. And you know what? That reminds me also. Tonight, we are going back to the Rose Quartz Cloud. Rose Quartz Cloud. Yay! Rose Quartz for the people. Yeah. Shaking it up on YouTube, reading books, and shining our light everywhere. Bright as we can. Did some great work yesterday. Great meditations as well. So thankful and grateful. just been amazing. How we just lifted up an entire generation by being thankful, grateful, loving, caring, responsible, so on and so forth. That's what the light workers do. I just saw a wonderful, wonderful marriage. We want to give a love and shout out to Tatiana Speed, who just got married. Yes. Love and honor to all those over the weekend that reinforced their love. That's the real light, right? Reinforcing the love. We have that as our foundation, and then we put love on top. And to all those that have elevated, thank you for shining your light while you were here on earth with us. We're so grateful and thankful. Love water on your journey. We honor you. To those solar returns, happy solar return, and all the life that is being born. We love you. Shine your light. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. So grateful and thankful. Yeah. I can feel it. Can you feel it? Yeah. It's going to be beatific today. Another beatific day, especially when we go into meditation. It's Monday, so Monday meditation. And this one's going to be great. So we're going to the Rose Quartz Cloud tonight. I can't wait to see you there, opening up our heart chakra all the way. And it's going to be so amazing. I can already feel the energy of it. So I wanted to leave you with this. That's so important. Just like I was talking about reinforcing love, we put love on top, right? See, you know, Tinky, right? We put love on top of everything. And that's why it's important to rebalance. It's like a recalibration sometimes, you know. That's what we do with time. It's about a calibration. And after we clean up, a great way to recalibrate is to disperse of trash, disperse of things that we don't need anymore. Because if you don't, and you leave them in, it'll start to leave a stench. Maybe on your clothes that you walk outside, maybe in your hair, right? So this recalibration is almost like taking a fresh breath. And when we're recalibrating, we want to make sure that we know where our North Star is. Just reinforce that love of where your North Star is. What are you trying to get to? For instance, me, my North Star is always Yeshua and wanting to heal people. I was like, wow, it's just the most amazing thing. That's the only thing that really impresses me is people that are kind, people that are clear on their stance and would like to uplift people. That's really, really what impresses me about a human. And so people with open hearts can do this. People with clear, open hearts, a path. And that's why spiritually, colors, crystals, recalibration, life experience itself isn't a flatus. Yeah, flatus. Highest heart love. Make sure we take out the trash once we clean up. It's a form of recalibrating. Then you take that breath, you say, maybe I need to add some lilies or some star jasmine or some bougainvilleas, right? Much love. Thank you so much for being here. Let's sing I love you to all those solar returns as well as those that have elevated. We love you so much for putting love on top, right? Thank you. I started saying words of love to my food. Yes, I cook. Yes, that's the way to do it. Yes, that's the way. Tinky, exactly. That's why when I cook, but like I'll make some beans and I'm sitting, um, I'm just letting them simmer, and I have I love you on the bottles of water. Um, and I say I love you to my food. You're putting love into your food, and that makes it taste better than anything because it's literally infusing the molecular structure of the food, as we learned from reading the book when we read the healing power of water, right? So we that's another book on this channel to read. Highest heart love. Let's sing I love you to our friends and family. Thank you so much for that light, Tinky. Oh, yeah, I wanted to make sure I do this because we want you as one of the mods on here. Yeah, we love you. There we go. Thank you so much for shining your light and being such a bright light, Tinky. Hope you get that love. Ay, 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 ay. Love, 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 love you. Ay, 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 ay. Love, 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 love you, you. You know it, because I love myself. Fine days and nights. I'll see you soon when we reconvene. Peace, peace.